Advaita Vedanta Satsang House, the ongoing sessions Bhagavad Gita offered by Bindoji. And if you have kept up with the sessions, Bindoji is taking a deeper dive into the, the the aspect of practicing Bhagavad Gita from the different lineage, and that's a very important aspect of his manana process, as you have noticed from yesterday. The replays are available on the Advaita Retold YouTube channel, which I pasted in the chat. I'll be closing the chat and the hand raising when Binduji is conducting class. And after an hour, the chat will be open and hand raising will be open for any question and answers. With that, over to you, Binduji.
Thank you, Prakash, and welcome all. Continuing with our journey through Bhagavad Gita, let me do my invocation. Om Namo Brahma Dibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vanshirshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purana Malayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashi Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmidi Murtiveda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Dhyana Slokam of Bhagavad Gita. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvandi Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangapada Vanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyandam na vidussura suragana devaya tasmai namaha devaya tasmai namaha devaya tasmai namaha. Om. In the last class yesterday, we were discussing about the Deha and Dehin, the one who is reside in the Deha, or one who is functioning through the Deha. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvaram jara tada dehandara prapti dhira statrana mushyati. So dhiraha, dhimantaha, or one who has got dhairyam, or those who have got dhiman, the buddhi shakti, they do not lament. Mushyati means lament. On the dehandara prapti means when one body is abandoned and another body is acquired. Now this verse is taken by certain set of people who have made it that Bhagavad Gita is affirming about birth and rebirth. Because he says that yet just as from from young age to middle age to old age, and it is a continuation of the Dehandara Prapti. To add to this, they will add one more verse which is coming later. Vasansi jirnani yada vihaya. Just as an old cloth is thrown out and a new cloth is taken up, same way Atma throws out this body and picks up another body. So these two verses are used by those who predict or those who insist upon that Bhagavad Gita insisting on the what you call birth and rebirth. But Shankaracharya doesn't talk anything about it. Here he stops with that the Dehantara Prapti should be considered similar to when the youth is thrown by the body and the middle age is taken up. The middle age is thrown and then the old age is coming. And same way, the old age also, when it is not good enough, that also will have to be thrown up. But the body being thrown out is the importance here. It can be thrown out due to various reasons. War is one of them. And we are in the juxtaposition where we are facing a war here. And Arjuna has to be proved that or made understand that, killing doesn't mean that they are killed. They are, their body is being what is being dropped by them, and they remain eternal, for which the subsequent verses will be supporting for it. Now, when we discuss this aspect, we have to keep it in our mind that the context under which it is being discussed should not be separated out for proving something else. This is what is being done by many people who want to prove their point, but they forget under what context is this verse used, and here, which is the important aspect of it. So when Ashocha and Anya Shochastvam is the beginning. So this is all about Ashocha and Anya Shochastvam, means you are crying for those who should not be cried out, bereaved out for. Under this subject, when something is coming, it is not showing, or it is not a theory or a philosophy where for rebirth, etc., should be extrapolated and taken up. Whether it is coming or not, we will see it later. But right now, Arjuna need to be educated about the eternal nature of the Atma and the ephemerality of the body. To continue that, he is moving to the 14th verse. Matra sparshastu kaundeya sitoshna sukadakkada agamavayino nityaha tvam titikshasva bharata. Hey Kaunteya, hey Kunti Putra, or son of Kunti, Matra sparsha. Sparsha means contact. Matra means, here the meaning is taken as senses with their object. Matra is taken as senses. The reason for it is that the word matra is formed from mapane, means to measure. And tran is the suffix which is getting added to it. Suffix is to show that limitation. So we have seen that Angushtamatra Purushaha in the Kathopanishad, we saw that. Angushtamatra means only as long as the thumb length. So to measure or to limit an activity, the tran pratyaya or as a suffix is used for it. Here the ma is the word, matra means measure of that much only. And what is that measure? Sparsha. Sparsha means contact. So only when there is a contact, that is the meaning. Or only as long as the contact exists. Matra sparsha tu, which Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha Da. Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkha Da. Da means dadati is from the word da. Daha is formed about it. That is a different grammar altogether. Let us not get into that. Shita Ushna, the polarities, heat and cold. Sukha Dukkha means happiness and sorrow. Ta here indicating giving rise to, or that is giving the heat or the cold or the happiness or sorrow, is from the contact of the senses. So when the senses are in contact, then only there is heat, cold, happiness, sorrow. Now we will get into the commentaries in a bit. Here we have to understand that the further verse says that agama payino nityaha. Agama payino nityaha. That means agama apayinaha anityaha. They are all agama payina means coming and going, or means transitory in nature. Anitya means fleeting, impermanent, or ephemeral. So all this heat, cold, happiness, sorrow, due to the contact of the sense with the sense objects, are transitory in nature and ephemeral or impermanent. O Bharata means again addressing Arjuna, Tvam tan titikshasva. You have to endure them with the knowledge that they are transitory in nature and fleeting. Enduring means they are not going to be lifelong. Only when the senses are in touch, you will have heat or cold, or now this is only for from the skin point of view. You have to get Shabda Sparsha Rasa Rupa Gandha. All the five sense organs we have to take. And the mind. We have to include the mind also, because not only the physical sense organs he is talking, even the internal sense organs for knowing the heat, for happiness and sorrow. That is why the heat and cold he has taken external senses, whereas sukha dukkha are internal in nature. So both external and internal nature of fleeting nature of knowledge of where there is a contact with the objects. That means every experience, when we now bring into a picture, it has a content in it. That content and our sensory organ, whether internal or external, the object can be internal or external. Based on that, when we look into all the experiences, every experience is agama apayina. They have a beginning, they have an end. So where they come from, where do they go from, we don't know. But we know them only when we are experiencing them. And because of that, they are called anitya, means fleeting or not permanent. Knowing this, one should feel free to declutch themselves from the pangs of the effects of the experiences. Because if you remember, in one of the earlier verses, he has mentioned that Nanu Shochanti Pandita, the first verse itself, Gata Suna Gatam Suscha. Here he is using Agama Paina, indicating both are in the same pattern. There he said, Na Anushocanti Pandita. Here he says, Tan Titikshaswa Bharata. Both the places, the attitude with which we approach life and the experiences of life is what Krishna wants us to evaluate. Just don't go by blindly by what is happening, because they have to be analyzed from the point of view of the experiencer. For the experiencer who knows that they are fleeting in nature and impermanent, or they are transitory in nature, such a person knowledge who has that, he will neither run after them, nor will he be worried about what is going to come or not going to come. What comes will go, what will go may come back, may not come back. He is totally free from the clutches of these ups and downs or effects of our experiences. He looks at experiences as mere events in life, neither attracted by them nor dissuaded by them. That is the word meaning titikshasva. The word titiksha has got importance in the Shatsambati. We have studied in the Parokshanubhuti. Yama Niyama, there when we studied that, the titiksha was one of the qualities of the Shatsambati. So that is what he is referring to here as Tam Titikshasva Bharata. You have to with the knowledge, endure it. When you handle a situation with the knowledge, that doesn't hurt you or they don't give you happiness like when you are blindly getting involved in it. Even if it is a physical pain or a physical happiness, or is a heat or cold, we are better equipped when we know that why it is so. So this is why the word matra sparshastu has got importance, because that is sparsha matra. As long as the sparsha or the connection between the sense organs and the objects are there, then only the experiencer, the subject, feels the effect of those objects. They may bring happiness, sorrow, heat or cold, or and all extremities of life. But when you know that it is not permanent and they are all transitory and fleeting in nature, you are only a witness to these events happening. You will never be shaken by those events. When you become unshaken, that is what is called endurance or titiksha. Now, well, let us look into the commentaries of this verse. Yadyapi Atma विनाश निमित्तः मोहः सन्न संभवति नित्यः आत्मा इति विजानतः तथापि शीतोष्ण सुख दुःख प्राप्ति निमित्त मोह लौकिको दृश्यते सुख वियोग निमित्त मोह दुःख संयोग निमित्त च शोकः इत्येतत् अर्जुनस्य वचनम् आशंक्य भगवान् आह. Is a preamble to the verse. Shankaracharya says that even though the delusion caused by the thought of destruction of the self is not possible for the person who knows in the manner that Atma is eternal, still, due to confusion or delusion caused by the attainment of the feelings of extremities of heat and cold, joy, sorrow, etc., as seen, sorrow caused by the separation of the comfort and association with the discomfort, which is well known in the world, is seen. Suspecting Arjuna will ask with the delusion or the confusion in the mind. Krishna preempts without giving an opportunity for Arjuna to ask a question. This verse, Matra Sparshastu Kaundeya Shitoshna Sugadukkada Agama Payino Nityastanti Dikshaswa Bharata. Matra Abi Miyande Shabdayaha Idi Shotradini Indriyani. Matranam Sparshaha Shabdadibihi Samyogaha. Te Shitoshna Sugadukkadaha. Shitam Ushnam Sukam Dukkam Cha Prayachanti iti. So matra, that by which sound means sound, etc., means all the sound. Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha, all the five sense organs are experienced. In the manner, sense organs such as ears, contact produces the sound. Same way, the other sense organs. Sparsha means contact of the sense organs with the sound. So matra sparsha means when the sound sense ear contacts with the sound is produced. And that sound or that contact are givers of experiences. And what you hear can either give pleasure or pain. And if it is the skin, heat or cold, like that, sweet or sour for the tongue, etc., etc. So all that meaning that it is the contact of the sense organs with the sense which is giving rise to the various experiences for the five sense organs. They give experiences. Therefore, they are called Shitoshna Sugadukkada. Athava Sprishyante iti Sparshaha Vishayaha Shabdadeyaha. Another meaning he is giving, or those that are contacted are sparsha, means objects such as sound, etc. Sense organs and sense objects are givers of experiences. Heat, cold, pleasure, pain, etc. So matra sparshascha shitoshna sukadakkada. Shidam kadachit, sukham kadachit, dukkham. Tatha ushnamapi anitya swarupam. That the sense organs and the sense objects through their contact are givers of the experiences of heat and cold, pleasure and pain. And the experience of heat or cold sometimes gives pleasure, sometimes gives pain. In summer, the heat is already there, so another heat will be only pain. Same way in the winter, when it is extremely cold, further cold or further wind, when it brings further cold, you feel further pain. So it is not that they by themselves are heat or cold or happiness or sorrow. It is our reaction. When we react, because we not knowing that the situation is arising out of these contacts, and if it is controllable, not controllable, if it is bearable, unbearable, all those things are within our control. And with the knowledge, you can do what you feel like doing. But complaining about it, anushocanam, nanushocanti pandita, complaining about it as if the problem is in the object. This happens, when before a problem comes up, we always look for on whom we can blame it on. That is the human nature. We are not even analyzing. We see the problem is arising. we are becoming angry, that the anger is coming up in our attitude. So that anger is how it is caused. We will see in the verses to come, where Krishna is talking about it. So when the anger is coming, now we want to blame it on somebody else. I am not the reason for my anger. What is giving rise to the anger is the problem. That object has nothing to do with you. Only when our sense objects, when got in touch with the object, and when we not knowing the methodology of it and the reasoning of it, we starts reacting, and that reaction converts it into anger. Sukha dukke puna niyata rupe yato na vyabhicharatah atah tabhyam prutak shitoshnayoho grahanam. Whereas pleasure and pain are of definitive nature because they do not change. Pleasure is always favorable, pain is always unfavorable. Therefore, there is separate mention of cold and heat from them, experience of pleasure and pain. That is, yasmat te matra sparshadayaha agamapayinaha agamapaya shilaha tasmat anityaha ataha tan शीतोष्णादीन तितिक्षस्व प्रसहस्व तेषु हर्ष विषादम va ma karshi ityartha. Since they mean the sense organs, sense objects, etc., and their contact are of the nature of coming and going, therefore they are temporary. Nature is also not changing. That is what it was said in the earlier paragraph. They are heat is heat, cold is cold. Pleasure is pleasure, unpleasant is unpleasant. They are not changing. But when you are not knowing that they are all temporary in nature, you may accept the experiences of opposites, heat and cold, pleasure and pain, etc. May you not entertain the elation or depression or frustration or grumbling in this regard. That is, avoidance of reaction is titiksha, an objective acceptance. That is the meaning. Which is what is said here is that titiksha is not silently take the blunt. The brunt of the situation should not be taken silently. With the knowledge, whatever is happening in our life, when we look into it with the knowledge that the objects are objects and they are not changeable, the sense organs are only for contact purpose. It is my reaction which makes it pleasure or pain. And when pleasure and pain is happening, I should also bring in the aspect of the nature of them, which are transitory and impermanent in nature. When I know that they are transitory and impermanent in nature, to the period of the transit time, if I am able to understand and without reaction face it, that aspect is called the tidiksha, which is the objective acceptance. Madhvacharya is now taking it the same way. If it is argued, even so, there is grief due to the pain of experiencing those sense contacts. The reply from Krishna is no, as it is matra sparsha. They are only from the contact of the senses. Matra means limited contact. Matra means that which is measured. That is, sense objects, they have not infinite potency. They have limited potency. And their contacts, sparsha means connections, is the sambandha. These very contacts produce heat, cold, pressure, pain, etc. For the experience of cold, heat, etc., by the self arises from the body's connection with the heat and cold, and from that of pleasure and pain. And pain is not inherent in the self. Pain cannot arise in the self by its own nature. Why? Because such experiences come and go, agamai paitva. If they belongs to the self by nature, they would exist even in deep sleep. Therefore, since these senses contacts exist only in the waking state and not otherwise, due to their invariable concomitance with waking states, they are caused by those contacts alone. Similarly, dream also. Not by the self's own nature. That means the heat, the cold, the pleasure, the pain, they are not of the nature of the self. And the self has no other relationship with those senses or the objects, except the sense object relationship is in the knowledge of the self, in the presence of the self. But the contact, the object, the sense organs, they are all limited, matra. Whereas the self is unlimited or infinite or nitya, eternal. On the impermanence of the sense experiences, he says that if it is argued, even though experiences come and go, they have permanence in the form of a continuous flow. This is mainly from the Buddhist point of view. The reply is anityaha. They are impermanent because they are absent in the deep sleep, pralaya, murcha, etc. So he says that, refuting the Buddhist comment that, like a river, this keeps on coming, agama painaha. They keep on coming and going, but Madhvacharya says they are anitya. And because they are anitya, why? They are not permanent. If they had been permanent, you should have experienced them in the deep sleep also, or in the time of pralaya or murcha. Murcha means when you swoon or when you are, under anesthesia. Therefore, the conclusion is the cause of suffering for the self is confusion arising from identification with the body, etc. Therefore, one who is free from that identification does not have suffering at the death of relatives, etc. This is for Arjuna's advice. Therefore, abandoning false identification, endure these experiences of opposites of heat, colds, happiness, and sorrow as the nature of objects and the sense organs. Ramanuja says that he first defines matra, which is sense objects as per him. Sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, shabda, sparsha, rasa, rupa, gandha, along with their substrates, are called matra, sense objects, because they are the effects of tanmatras. So he is taking matra from the tanmatra. Tanmatra means subtle elements. So subtle elements are 5 in nature: akasha, vayu, agni, apaha, prithvi. It's like that. And each of the objects are formation of these. So matra and the sense organs are also formation of the sense tanmatras. That is why the sound can be heard only by the ears, the vision can be seen only by the eyes, etc. Therefore, they are formed out of tanmatras. Sense contacts and their effects. The contacts, sparsha. Now, matra he has defined. Now he is defining the sparsha. The sparsha, the contact of these sense objects with the ear, etc., sense organs, produce pleasure and pain in the form whenever happens heat, cold, soft, hard, etc. The word cold and heat, Shitoshna, is given as an example representing all sensory experiences. Now, having defined these two, he is saying the instruction to endure. What is that? Endure or titiksha, those sense experiences with the fortitude, dhairya, until the completion of scriptural duties such as warfare, etc. And these experiences, due to the agamapaitva or coming and going nature, are fit to be endured by those who possess the fortitude. Fortitude is titiksha, is endurance or fortitude, he is saying. And therefore, the impermanence, what is the impermanence he is referring to? And these are impermanent, anitya. The meaning is that when the karma that is the cause for bondage is destroyed, these experiences cease even in their nature of coming and going. So when the karma, here we have to take the karma, what he is referring to is that of the Vedic karmas. So when the karma is creating a bondage, and that is when it is destroyed, the karma ceases. There is no more karma living. So all the sensory inputs and everything will function only when there is a bondage with the cause, what is with the karma. And once who is vimukta, karma vimuktaha, one who is emancipated or freed from the karmas, then these nature of the objects also cease troubling him. That is the explanation given by Ramanujacharya. Abhinavagupta has covered this in the previous verse itself, so there is no separate thing for here. Now the 14th verse or 15th verse. Shidoshnadin sahataha kim syad iti shrunu. So what happens to a person who accepts the experiences of heat and cold? That has to be explained. So, yam hi na vyathayanti ete purusharshaba sama dukkha sukham dhiram sa amradatvaya kalpade. Purusharshaba, the bull among the men, to calling Arjuna that Purusha Shrestha. The bull is considered to be the Shrestha animal or the best, because it is used for progeny, for agriculture, and for travel those days. So it is the best among the animals. He yam sukha samasukha dukkham, dukkha sukham. Because to whom, yam means to whom, sagma dukkha sukham, one who, to whom the pain and pleasure are alike. Samam means he is approaching the opposites of Sukham and Dukkham with equanimity. He is neither attracted by the Sukham nor distracted by the Dukkham. For him, whether the happiness comes or the sorrow comes, he is unwavered, equanimous. Therefore, he is dhira. He is a dhimantaha. Not only dhairyam, but he is also, the dhairyam gives out of the knowledge. Purusham ete nas vyathayanti. Such a person, Purusham. Ete means these. What is these? Sukham dukkham. Na vyathayanti. Do not torment. Vyathayanti means torment in plural. To show that there are many opposites. Heat, cold, hard, soft, sweet, sour, etc. All those ete comes under the ete. Na vyathayanti means it do not torment him. He is equanimous. Now, in the Sita Prajna, he is explaining this attitude there again. Saha amritatvaya kalpate. He becomes eligible for immortality. Kalpate means becomes eligible. Amritatvaya, for the immortality. Why is he talking about immortality at this juncture when he is talking about the heat, cold, pleasure, pain, etc., and the equanimity? Because they are agama paina, they are impermanent and ephemeral in nature. And what is this has to do with the amritattvam? Let us see. How does Shankaracharya bring in it? Yam hi purusham same dukkha sukhe yasya tam sama dukkha sukham. Sukha dukkha praptau harsha vishada rahitam dhiram dhimantam na vyathayanti na chalayanti. Nityam atma darshanat ete yatokta shitoshna adayaha sa nityatma swarupa darshana nishtaha dvanda sahishnuhu amritatvaya mokshaya ityartaha. Kalpade means samarthe bhavati. What does he say? Indeed, a person who is equanimous to pleasure and pain, or heat or cold, that is, on attainment of pleasure and pain, one who is free from elation and depression, that is harsha vishada rahitam. He gets the knowledge of atmatyanam, atmatyanavatan. Those experiences of heat, cold, etc. are mentioned, as mentioned earlier, do not disturb such a person from the appreciation of the timeless self, because he continues to be in the state of nididhyasanam, or affirmation of the self, that he is the self. This is the benefit of tidiksha, on remaining on track on the nididhyasana of on the self, knowledge of the self, because he does not see it is the qualities of the nature of the self. The self is only a sakshi. So for titiksha, he is taking an attitude that these are all due to the body, which is having the senses and the sensory objects in the contact. The heat and cold, sound, all those opposite, pleasure and pain, etc., are among the body and the sense organs and the objects. I am mere witness. So I am untouched by that. It is not touching me, it is touching the body which I am observing. Drigdrishya vivekam. I am the seer of the body. I am the knower of the body. I am knower of the heat and cold that is happening in the body. Therefore, I am neither affected by the heat nor affected by the cold. This is the titiksha which Shankaracharya is explaining as born out of the knowledge of the self. Such a person, na vyathayanti, he is not tormented. He is neither touched by the heat, cold, heat, pleasure, nothing, because he is a witness, mere witness, sakshi matram. Tebhyo vilakshana sakshi. He is a witness, just observing them happening in the body. He doesn't identify himself with the body. I am Deha. Madhvacharya is also tagging almost the same line, but he is with slightly difference. Therefore, Krishna states the purpose or the benefit with the yam hi, means for whom indeed, whom these sense contacts, matra sparsha, do not afflict, na vyathayanti. The word purusham, person, is qualifying a term because it refers to one who is established in the self. Purishayam iva shantam. That is his definition of the self. Since in the absence of identification with the body, there is no affliction for anyone who is not having the identification. How do these sense contact not afflict? Is the Purva Pakshi asking. How can it not afflict? Due to being sama dukkha sukha vat, the equanimity or equal in pleasure and pain. So again, the Purva Pakshi is asking how. How is it achieved? Through fortitude, dhairyena. It is happening. The heat is happening, the cold is happening, everything is happening to the body. And the body has to forbear with the heat or cold or pleasure or pain, etc. When the body is equipped with dhairyam coming out of the knowledge, the body has the potency to forbear anything. Now, men won't understand this. Women, those who are mothers, will definitely understand that. The pain of childbirth is inevitable. But the pain, when they go through, they have no hatred for the child, nor for the action of the child pushing and coming out, nor anything happening to their body. All those sufferings, what has happened during that time, is taken as a happiness by the lady who sees the child, and she is smiling in spite of the pain which she has undergone. So which shows very clearly that the pain in itself is not hurting. Pain is happening, no doubt. There will be a screaming, crying, everything happening at the body level. But the knowledge that I am giving birth to a child and that seeing the child, the pleasure also returns. The previous second it was pain is replaced by the pleasure. We men can never understand that. So I have no explanation which the man can understand. I myself have found it difficult to understand that. But when I went through my operation, I had a glimpse of that. But that is the time when I looked at my body as an equipment for me to analyze. If I don't utilize the knowledge which I have gained through Vedanta, when it is happening to me, I will be a fool. So I best used it, which was acknowledged by the doctors also. So all this thing is indicating that when these things happen, it is our reaction what is causing us more pain than the bodily pain itself. The bodily variations of heat and cold or pressure and pain, etc., are natural because they are the nature of the sense organs where the body is holding the sense organs when they are in contact with the sense objects. They are bound to happen. So when you know it is going to happen, why don't you accept it as the nature of the body? And that is what is called the Navyadhayanti. Such people are not for tormented by that. Ramanuja asked the question, who attains immortality? That person, Purusham, who is endowed with the fortitude, Dhairya Yuktam, who considers unavoidable suffering as it is, as if it were pleasure, who performs duty appropriate to his varna, such as warfare, etc., without attachment to the results, as a means to immortality. The harsh and cruel touches of the weapon strikes, etc., that are part of the duty of a warrior do not afflict him. He alone accomplishes immortality, not one like you who cannot bear the suffering. This is the meaning. So Krishna is telling this to Arjuna. That is why you he is referring to here is to Arjuna, who dropped the weapons and sitting without fighting. Therefore, because of this eternality of the self, this much is to be done here. That is the meaning given here. Transition to proof. Now, what was stated earlier, that the eternality of the self and the neutral perishability of the bodies is not a cause for grief, as in the wise do not grieve for the living or the dead. Ashochan anyashojastvam gadansuna agadansuncha nanu shojanti pandita. So that is what he is referring to here. So Krishna begins to establish this point from the beginning itself. Gadansucha agadansuncha nanu shojanti pandita. Here tan tidikshasva bharata is to end that aspect. So this is as much as what Ramanuja has meant. Now Abhinava Gupta says that the unsteady versus the steadfast. However, the unsteady means adhiraha. Grieve even over the impermanent states of heat, cold, pleasure, pain, etc., which are produced by the contact, sparshaha, the connections of the self through the sense organs with the objects, denoted by the word matra. But the steadfast one, dhiraha, do not grieve in this way. Thus Krishna says. Or alternatively, he gives an alternate interpretation. The contacts of these sense experiences are mere matras or mere sense organs, not directly with the Supreme Self, Paramatman. Instruction is agama, meaning arising out of something. Apaya means destruction or disappearance of something. Endure, didikshasva. Those experiences which possess this coming and going, bear with them, sahaswa. So this is the Abhinava Gupta statement. So now if you look at this Shokamohadav, Shankaracharya writes a preamble for the next verse, which may run for 2 days of explanation. That is the most important verse of the second chapter. Before that, Shankaracharya writes, Itascha shokamohau akritva shitoshnadi sahanam yuktam yasmat. Now, the benefit of remaining on the track is explained. That person who abides or is committed to abiding in the appreciation of the timeless self deliberately, who is accommodative of the pairs of opposite he becomes fit for immortality. For freedom is his. He gets moksha. Then he starts the verse. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. Ubhayoravi drishtandas tvanayo tattvadarshibhihi. This verse, we will take it tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawada.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. Thank you very much. Again, a deep manana. I've opened the chat and the hand raising for anybody who has questions.
Thank you, Patrick. I think we will wait for tomorrow then.
Sure, Binduji. So we'll close the session then.
Yeah. Nobody is
Okay.
coming up, no? If nobody
Yeah,
is
so
there,
far.
we'll close the room.
Usually
Okay.
it takes a. Okay.
Venkat says okay. Okay.
All
So,
right.
Prakash, you can
Thank.
close down and
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And tomorrow is a deeper continuation of today. So if we do the manana of today, then tomorrow will be even more valuable. So again, thank you very much, Bindoji, for offering this to us. And giving your personal experience occasionally gives us some rootedness of your practice, because you don't talk much about your own practice. So thank you very much, and thank you everyone for coming. And we will continue our session tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. IST. You can catch up on the replays in Clubhouse or on the YouTube channel. Over to you, Binduji, to close the session.
thank you, Prakash. Thank you all, each and everyone who have attended to this. We will continue our journey through the second chapter tomorrow. And tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, we will have classes. Friday will be the discussions, if anything is left for Bhagavad Gita. And Sunday, we will have the open house. Thank you. Hari Om. Good night.